keeping a promise to yourself is how you build self-confidence. I believe that because when you don't, well, who else are you going to keep a promise to? I don't want to be regretting things, but more so, I don't want to live a life of mediocrity. That is a word that makes me cringe. So yes, maybe you fall on your face sometimes, but I'd rather fall on my face than never try it all.
If you don't do it, you'll have a low hum of frustration in your life every day. You'll feel this low hum of, I know there's something more, there's something better. I know I could do it. I just don't have I don't have the chutzpah. I don't have the chutzpah to make it happen. I don't have the guts to do it. This podcast is for the rebels,
The misfits, the dreamers.
who really are sick of living on autopilot.
Every week, we strip away the excuses. We break the rules. We give you bold, actionable strategies.
So you can crush your habits that hold you back.
Ditch the job you hate.
Build a life that you actually want to wake up to.
No fluff.
No permission slips.
Just real talk, proven tools, and a healthy dose of rebellion.
To help you break free and rise higher and own your next chapter.
This isn't just a podcast, it's an escape plan.
If you are sick of just following status quo, you have just found your people.
Hi, welcome to the 3 Seconds of Guts. I'm Melissa Lewis, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tom Scarda. We are so happy to have you guys here today. Today we have a interesting and maybe even uncomfortable conversation we're going to have. So today's topic is, are we being proactive or just reactive to life?
Yeah.
So that's where Tom and I are going to start talking about. Now, we have not prepared for this. We have a couple questions we're going to ask each other, and we don't know our answers yet. But this is something that we deal with on a daily basis for ourselves and people who are looking to change their life and become entrepreneurs. How much of this is reactive, that you kind of wait, and how much of this is proactive? So, Tom, do you have any thoughts before we get into our questions?
You know me, I have empty head. I have no thoughts. But actually, one thing is the proactive, reactive thing. I look at it, it's change, right? And they say that the two things in life that are certain are death and taxes. And I think that's incorrect. Death that's true. You're not going to avoid death. I don't know anybody who has. I don't think anybody's going to avoid it. Taxes, though, that's BS. You don't have to pay taxes. I mean, you might go to jail, but you don't have to pay them, right? I want to replace that phrase with the only two constants in life is death and change. Change is constant. And I have found in my own personal experience that when I let things happen to me, that's being reactive. But when I take the reins and I raise my hand and make the change myself, that's being proactive. And you have so much more control because you're standing up and saying, I'm making the change. I got the confidence. I'm doing this. And I'm not talking about buying a franchise specifically. It could be anything. It could be the college that you choose. It could be the city you choose to live in, the person you're going to marry. I mean, and it could be the difference between soup or salad.
Well, we deal with people all day long who are changing their lives and researching franchise ownership. Could this be what I want, right? What I've noticed, so everybody thinks the end of the process and buying a franchise or saying yes or no at the end of the process is the scariest step in the process. Yes, that's scary and for its own reasons. But honestly, you're the most educated at that step because you've done all the research. I really believe it's the first step in the process of raising your hand and saying, I want something more in my life. I want something different. And I'm open to new things. I'm open to different ideas. Because once you open that Pandora's box, you don't know what you're going to find. And that's honestly the scariest part in the process. That's also where all the good stuff starts to happen. So that's a good example of kind of being proactive versus, a lot of people wait until something happens. And then they feel like they have to rush and hurry up because it happened to them versus them designing their life. I also think this is the hardest thing, though, is to be proactive, even though I think we all know we probably should be. Because if you don't have it right now, you push it off. You procrastinate, you wait. And
Yeah.
that's where I find is the challenge.
Yeah. And we're taught to not rock the boat, be nice, be good, be a good kid, draw, color within the lines,
Don't
you
speak
know,
up. Don't
right.
talk
Don't
out of
speak.
turn.
Right. So our society teaches us to be, more sheep than be lions. And then one day some people wake up like us and we decide we want to be lions and not sheep.
Yes. Rawr.
And so it's like, let it
Ah,
out.
yes.
So making, making a change is a big deal. I always talk about your choice is the choice between uncertainty or unhappiness. Most people choose unhappiness because it's familiar, it feels right. It's like carbon monoxide. It's not going to kill you right away. It'll kill you slowly.
Oof.
Choosing uncertainty. It's
Mm,
a quiet killer.
yes. Choosing
Choosing
that.
unhappiness, I should say.
Yeah. Uncertainty. The magic is in the discomfort. The magic is in asking for more,
Right.
thinking bigger, dreaming bigger. So, a couple questions here. I'm just going to choose one random. From 1 to 5, Tom, pick a number.
Well, three.
3. Okay. It's a good one. Do people regret the risks that they take or the risks that they didn't take? What do you
They, in my opinion, you
Yes.
are, and people I've talked to who are older, like rocking chair status, they have said they regret the things that they did not do, not the things they did do.
Isn't
It,
there a lady who was like the number one hospice nurse? I just watched something on the is it the Art of Greatness podcast?
I forget, but I know what you're talking about. I heard this story live like 30 years ago from late lady's name was Gloria Littauer, I think.
Good job.
I don't know. I'm looking for a book on my shelf, but it I don't know if Gloria is the right first name, but the last name is Littauer. And it's the story. Are you talking about the story of the lady who's in a nursing home and she gets up in the middle of the night and sings like an opera star?
No, but tell that story.
Okay. So there's a lady who gets up, uh, she's like in a nursing home, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, like clockwork, almost like in like a stupor or hallucination, she starts singing like a trained opera singer. And one day her her kids came in to visit, and the nurse, who's the night nurse, said, it's really weird when your mom wakes up at 2 in the morning, she sings like an opera singer. Was she an opera singer? She's like, oh no, she was a stay-at-home mom. When she was young, she was a fantastic singer at church, and they wanted everybody said, oh, you should send your child to school to learn how to sing. And the parents said, oh no, she's a lady. She has to be a mom, get married, have a family, not be a singer. And she held this in down in her gut all these years, her whole life, and wasn't able to sing. Now that she's in her old age, she sings like
Oh.
an opera star. So it's like, don't let people hold you back.
Don't let
Is
them tell you.
don't
It
let
basically the story I was gonna say is that people tend to regret the risks they didn't take. They don't talk about the things that they went through because there's a pride, and I think there's a pride in knowing it was part of their story. Maybe they struggled, maybe they made a mistake, but typically when something like that happens, it's because you needed a skill set to get you to the next stage in life. This is my belief, at least, of the decisions I made that might be bad decisions. I look back with grace and peace because I know that that was meant to get me somewhere else in life, somewhere bigger. And if you think of that, those downsides actually bring you up because now you're stronger or more aware or whatever it is. But it's the things that, for me, it's the things where I chickened out. I've called myself before a recovery chicken outer, but right, it's like there's these things in life that I just got to the end and then I didn't do it and I really wanted to. And those are the things that I think about at night. Like, why didn't you do that at that
right.
stage? And
You got
sometimes we have to just forgive ourselves and then learn from that to say if something makes me uncomfortable. There's a question I ask myself. Is when I want to know, is this fear holding me back or is this actually like too much risk? Maybe you're not ready for it. I ask myself the question, Melissa, do you really want this?
Right.
And if I really want it, then I do it. Because if not, then it's fear that's holding me back. Because when you
Yeah.
mix fear, if there's excitement in there, if you think about it, if there's no excitement, there's typically not fear. If there's excitement too, that means you should do it. That's my
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to gauge it. I think that um, people want to do things, but they're looking for the right time, and they, there's no good time. The best time is now, and you got to put a stake in the ground and just do it. I mean, it reminds me of a story that you might have heard me tell before, but um, did I tell you the story about the two guys on the porch drinking lemonade?
with the dog.
The dog.
I like this one.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's so apropos to so many things and so many, when you face challenges in your life. So there's these two guys, they're sitting on the porch drinking lemonade. It's a hot summer day and they're sitting there and one guy has his dog with him. Every once in a while, this hound dog would let out a yelp. And the guy says, "What's wrong with your dog?" "Nothing." And then a couple of minutes later, the dog yelps again. And he's like, "Well, what's wrong with the dog? Why is he yelping?" He goes, "Well, he's laying on a nail." He's like, "He's laying on a nail. Why does he just get up?" And the dog owner said, "Probably doesn't hurt enough." And that's it. You're
Don't
sitting
be
on
the
the
hound
nail.
dog. Get up, make the change, remove the nail.
Yeah.
Moral of the
You,
story.
but that's how we act through our whole life is like, yeah, this kind of sucks. I hate to commute. My boss is a jerk, you know, but you suffer through it because
But
you
I'm
got to pay the
comfortable.
bill.
But I'm
You got to pay the
comfortable.
right. You got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And so you use that as a justification. That's really logic acting as fear, or fear acting as logic, I should say.
I think
But
the things that for me personally, I don't fear as much because I've been working on this a long time in my life because I used to give up and not do things that scared me. And I just realized the emotional impact that that takes on your self confidence. Keeping a promise to yourself is how you build self confidence.
mm,
Say that again. Keeping a promise to yourself is how you build self confidence. I believe that because when you don't, well, who else are you going to keep a promise to? Keep it to yourself first. And as you do that, that's how you really become unstoppable in my life. But I don't want to be regretting things, but more so, I don't want to live a life of mediocrity. That is
mm.
a word that makes me cringe. So, yes, maybe you fall on your face sometimes, but I'd rather fall on my face than never try at all.
Right. And it's not for everybody. I mean, if you're listening to this and you feel like, oh, I can never do that, maybe you're not ready to make the change, and that's fine. For me, I think if you don't do it, you'll have a low hum of frustration in your life every day. You'll feel this low hum of like, "Ugh, I know there's something more, there's something better. I know I could do it. I just I don't have the chutzpah. I'll use that one more. I
Is
don't
that
have the
right?
chutzpah to make it happen." That's a Yiddish word.
I love that word.
I don't have the guts to do it. Three
Find
seconds.
yourself. And the key is do something. You don't
Just
have
do
to do
something.
it all. You don't have to bungee jump or skydive today. If there's something you want, break it down into small, actionable strategies and take one small step, one small bite.
One small step, right? I talk about that in the magic of choosing uncertainty. Like if you're afraid of flying, don't go get on a plane, but just take a ride to the airport today. Tomorrow, take a ride to the airport, park your car, and go in the lobby, and then go back
Start.
in your car and drive home.
Just start.
Just
There's,
gotta start.
I don't remember if it was in Atomic Habits. I think it might have been in Atomic Habits of somebody wanting to go to the gym. Maybe it was the book you made me read of The Art of Excellence. Is that what it was called?
Yep. By
It was one of them.
Jim
Um,
Murphy.
and if
Yes.
you want to start going to the gym, this guy started by driving to the gym, driving back home. And the next day he'd drive to the gym and then he'd drive back home. I love that analogy because it's like you took a first step. sooner or later, you're probably going to go in. So then go into the gym. You want to go
Eventually.
home, go home. Usually, and there's a rule in Atomic Habits of, I don't know if it's 2 minutes or something, but once you start doing something for 2 minutes, you typically want to keep going. But there's also a mind game of like, if I do 2 minutes and I want to give up, or 5 minutes, whatever the rule is, okay, then I can.
Yeah.
Cool. But you feel better by even those 2 or 5 minutes or just driving to the gym.
But
It's powerful.
also know that when you decide I'm going to do something like that, there's a couple of things that come into mind here. But you once you make a declaration of that's it, I'm done, I'm never gonna eat sugar again or whatever, you're gonna be tempted extra hard. So do it one day at a time. Don't make a declaration like I'll never eat again. Just like I'm not eating sugar today. And then the next day. And then you string the habit together.
And you can
And
even break it down to right now.
or
I a lot of people know that I quit drinking alcohol about a year and a half ago. And it's a lot in my brain to think I'll never have another glass of wine. So I don't think that way. I don't know. I know that right now, as we're doing the podcast, I'm not drinking wine. So right now, just
did
right
you
now, I'm not going to do it. I choose right now because now you feel an accomplishment and you feel in control. And if you
yeah,
think too big, you talk yourself out of it. It seems too overwhelming.
yeah, just one step at a time. But I have a question. Did you drink wine during podcasts in the past?
Well, I never had a podcast before, so
There you go.
that will be a secret to keep there.
That's a hard no. So you will regret the things that you didn't do. I think we established that pretty
Yes.
well. What other
Okay.
questions we got?
So let's do this one. This is the big one, and we'll probably end with this one. What's one belief about success that you completely disagree with?
Success is not the gathering of things; it's the gathering of experiences.
Do you
So
disagree with that? The success is
is gathering
more.
things. Like you ever hear the phrase? Like in the '80s, there was people had bumper stickers that said, "The person with the most toys wins." That's the one that's BS in my book.
What
It's
do you
it's
believe?
what it is um how many people you help along the journey. That's real. That's success.
I love that. That's so true. I say I have two answers. One belief is very similar to yours is that when you achieve the goal, you'll be happy. I was always chasing a new goal. This was probably the first half of my career, if not two-thirds, honestly. And it felt very exhausting because you rush, 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 rush and do all these things to hit the goal. And then you get the goal, and then you go back down again. And that's a very uh it's not sustaining, right? You tire yourself out. That's the motivation of life. Of motivation is fleeing. It's what I finally learned and through reading and books and Tony Robbins seminars is it's the person you become. And that no, there's no journey, there's no end to that journey, there's no destination. Because when you become the person, you will have the stuff of whatever it is that you want, and part of that is typically, to your point, Tom, it's not just stuff, it's giving, it's experiences, but so much of it is becoming the person, not just having the thing.
That is totally it, 1,000%. It's the becoming. And we know so many people, or we heard of so many people who had what we thought was success and they were unhappy to the point we could talk about a few people who killed themselves, like committed suicide. You thought that they had everything and they committed suicide because deep down inside, they were not happy. They weren't fulfilled. So
Yeah.
fulfillment comes with one thing: service to others.
The more you
That,
give, the more you get. What
yeah,
is Tony Robbins says something like success without fulfillment is failure or something like that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
once again, it's the fulfillment, it's the internal. And when I always think about the learning, the growth, human beings are meant to grow and learn and give and serve others. There's true value in the more you help, the more you get, the more you give, the more you get. And it's not that you're focusing on getting, but you become a better person. You have more experiences. but these are all building blocks. And it
Right.
all goes back to having 3 seconds sometimes, and the 3 seconds of guts of trying new things and becoming a new person and continuing to learn and to grow.
Yeah. I think that, the service to others is what matters most. And if you come at it with like, oh, I'm gonna do this for these people with the expectation of getting something in return, the thing that you get in return is not tangible. It's fulfillment. It makes your heart swell. That's what you get. So if you're looking to do it because you want a financial achievement, it's going to backfire and you're going to be double miserable.
It's
Um,
leaving the legacy too. When we talked about the end of our lives, is it what we didn't do or did do? What do you want that to be? What do you want your legacy? How do you want to leave this world and what presents and gifts do you want to give? I think the whole thing with success is that it always is money or whatnot driven. And I also don't want to, I'd love to chat another time about our money blueprints and actually believing that the more that you make, the more you can give and help others. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but when it's the only thing, I think is when it's the bad thing.
I'm a big fan of Muhammad Ali, and the guy was a master at life lessons. And I just read something about him this week that I never read before. I never heard him say, but I saw a video and he said, service to others is the rent you pay for your room in this life.
Hmm. I never heard that.
I never heard it. I was like that. Oh my God. I melted when I heard that.
It's so good.
And it is serving others. I'm calling it, that is the training ground. That's the boot camp for becoming fulfilled. It's not getting the new car and the big house and the award and winning the championship. It's about helping others, serving others. Um, Man, it's esoteric. It's hard to like explain unless you do it. You got to do it.
Yeah. Giving is where the service and how to help others, and then also the lessons and growing and becoming better, because that's the lesson I've learned in all the changes I've made in my life. I can't make decisions for other people. I can't change other people. And that controlling side of my personality wants to, but I finally am giving into I can be better. And if I can be better, I can help more people. If I can be better, I can be a better example. If I
That's
can be better, I can give more, I can be happier, I can have more energy. And that to me is the best that I can become so that I can be better for other people, for our world, for our community.
that's all that matters is how you gonna be remembered,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what did we just hear recently? There's actually a song, The Dash, and the dash is um your birth date and the day you die. There's a dash in between. What are you gonna make out of that dash?
That's
That's
deep.
right. That's what you're gonna be remembered for.
Yes. There's a lot to take in, but it's also important that success is really giving to others, becoming a better person, and start designing your life. Taking a little nibble, a little step towards that today. Doesn't have to be all of it in one bite. Just do something little today to start designing your life and taking control. It's going to make everything in your life better.
Yep. Mel and I have been doing this for quite a while, years. And so it doesn't all come at once, but now we're here to share it with you. So thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share the 3 Seconds of Guts podcast. Thank you for listening in.
We love you guys. Thank you so much. Share this with your friends and please give us feedback of how we can get better and topics that we can share for you guys. Thank you again.